Hello again, you're watching Sky News Breakfast. We're going to have another look through the papers. And with us this morning, author and broadcaster Emma Wolfer and journalist and author Nikki Hodgson. Good morning again to you both. Emma, let's kick off with, The Express. The first page, we need tax cuts now, and a cabinet split, apparently.
Yeah, so apparently there's a cabinet battle underway with those supporting tax cuts, urging the Prime Minister and Chancellor Rishi Sunak to go for it, to cut taxes now rather than waiting for the next election. They're saying that, we shouldn't take British people for fools, and that, introducing tax cuts just before the next election would be seen as a pre-election gimmick. Supporters are saying if tax cuts are good for the economy and if they're good for the cost of living crisis, then they need to happen as soon as possible. And this is actually, these calls are coming from across the Tory party, left and right. So that's including Ian Duncan Smith, John Redwood, Damien Green, and many others. So more woes for Boris Johnson as his cabinet is split over this, but clearly people need some kind of effective help with the cost of living crisis at the moment.
Yeah, very true. Okay, Nikki, let's have a look at the Telegraph. It's page 2, and I think it's page 2. But it's something that's so important, isn't it, to so many of us? Hormone replacement therapy, leaflets carrying outdated warnings. What is this about?
So I don't know if you've ever heard of this story that HRT causes cancer, or this kind of line that lots of people have often been told. It's based on a very small study from 20 years ago, but that warning is still being printed on the leaflets which appear in the boxes of HRT products. And really this is just saying that it's time to stop making women so afraid of taking what is often a life-saving drug. And, for so many years, HRT has been seen as a sort of lifestyle medication. It really isn't, because we know the far-reaching consequences of people that don't take it if they need it. So it's really just this push to say it's time, yes, okay, fine. If there is a small chance of something happening, then fair enough, put it as a warning, but don't blow it out of proportion, because it is stopping women from taking something that they really need.
These leaflets, where are they? They're actually in the medicine, or they're just being handed out about HRT?
No, they're actually in the boxes of the gels and the pills that are administered.
So what they're saying, you should talk to your doctor, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they're like any kind of generic medicine warnings that you get on anything that you take. But the fact is that the campaigners are saying that they overinflate the significance of the risk of breast cancer. And again, like I said, it's based on this very small study from 20 years ago. What actually is very telling is the fact that we haven't done enough new research to disprove that connection. And that is what needs funding in order for people to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about women and healthcare, right? And the way they're treated. We've only got a few minutes left, so let's talk about air travel. And the age of cheap air travel is over, Emma. It was interesting. I don't know if you heard Simon Calder. He was just saying, I think we got a flight to Europe for £1,200 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, to Nice. And this time last year, I think he said £1,200 to Nice. I think I paid £200 or £300. It's crazy. And also, just listening to Simon there, you don't really want to be travelling at all at the moment or booking flights. But anyway, this story it actually was an interview in the Financial Times with the pioneer of cheap travel, Michael O'Leary, the boss of Ryanair. He's saying basically really cheap travel, like £40 a ticket, is unsustainable. He's saying that when he comes into London, if he flies into Stansted, the train into central London is costing him more than the flight from a European destination. I'm sure we've all had that experience. And basically lots of pressures. We know about staff shortages, we know about lack of capacity in airlines, we know about COVID pressures, the pandemic, but also high soaring oil prices because of the Ukraine and Russia conflict. So there's a lot of pressure, and prices are going to go up over the next 5 years, which some environmental campaigners, Kimberly, would say is probably a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, they are really expensive at the moment, but when you think of a £40 airfare, you understand, maybe that is a bit cheap, and there still needs to be some sort of correction there. Nikki, let's talk about Zara Alina. We saw that it was such a touching, moving, I suppose it was a memorial to her yesterday, wasn't it, when everyone walked her home, as it were. That's what they were calling it, wearing white. This is in the Mirror, and her friend has been saying something about how Zara felt.
Yeah, so this is about how Zara Alina was afraid of getting cabs, which is why she walked everywhere. And it's not necessarily that she had tangible evidence that it was more safe to walk than it was to get a cab. It's just how she felt. And I think what's really sad about this is the fact that it highlights the point that women don't ever feel safe really travelling home at night by themselves, or actually sometimes in broad daylight. We aren't taught what are the safest methods of getting home. We don't know what they are, and should we even be taught them anyway? Because isn't the point that our society should be safe enough for us to be out at any hour without fear of harm? So it's just a really, really poignant note about how Zara felt. And, the idea then you start to think, well, would she have been safer if she got a cab? But it's not really, it's besides the point. The point is we are not safe enough in this country if even one woman is murdered.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Okay, the male, Emma, are we going to need booster jabs, or more booster jabs, should I say?
Apparently, yeah. So cases are up nearly a third. They're up 32% or something in the last week. I think we've had 500,000 more cases this week than last week, and 2.3 million adults have tested positive. And I think, Kimberly, it's a lot more than that, because a lot of people that I know don't test anymore. They just certainly don't test the way they used to. So they're a super booster. The super booster jab, which is Omicron specific, is set to be approved. Hopefully, it'll be getting the green light from the drugs regulators in the next few weeks. And this will be starting with the over 50s. Everybody got to get their arms out for autumn.
Okay, well, we've got to leave it there. Emma and Nikki, thank you so much. It's been fun. Have a fantastic Sunday. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Still to come here on Sky News Breakfast, we'll have more reaction to the suspension of Conservative MP Chris Pitcher as new claims of inappropriate behaviour emerge.